So I can't show you because our website's being a pain. But we do use a WordPress plugin to pull JSON from a public report in Koha out to our website and then display that report like formatted out with screenshots and links and stuff. Um, to promote our puppet collections and our flannel boards and some of the kits and stuff that we have in-house at our office that our libraries can borrow. And I, I want to say it's called JSON Object Importer. I did a presentation on this at KohaCon,
I,
so
I thought so.
that I
Um,
think Lisette shared that out on the listserv you were talking about in that chain of emails.
yeah,
And it works pretty okay. I mean, when our website works.
yeah. My concern is being a city, we're stuck using, oh, what is it? Civics Plus for our website, which is, as far as CMSs go, it's really bad. But it's what all the cities use. And I know a WordPress plugin wouldn't work. So I'd have to try to dissect it and do it independently. Yeah, they weren't even able to get a Koha search bar on our website until I got here and was able to get it to work. Because what they were wanting to do was just copy and paste things from one website to another website using its graphical interface rather than going in and tweaking the code. And that won't work because the people that manage the website only know how to do graphical interfaces. They don't know how to actually code anything. They're marketing people. What are you going to do? So, all right. Well, that was a short conversation about that. What else do we have? We've got Koha US coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things I've done here, and I've sent emails out to our staff to get people to register. Spencer and I talked about pros and cons of having everybody individually register and then sitting at their desk and watching things, or having people individually register and registering as a institution, if you will. And we've got a nice big meeting room with a built-in 470-inch monitors on the wall, and having the people that want to sit in on different sessions sit in there. Kind of went back and forth on it, and we're going to let people do what they want, but I'm trying to push people to go in and sit and watch it in a group for that discussion that they can have. You know, if you were sitting in a real conference, you'd whisper to each other, you know, hey, yeah, we might could do this, and you get that real discussion going. Whereas if you're just sitting like us right now, sitting behind a monitor, that discussion is lost. And we're hoping that we can get our staff to kind of energize that way. And I'm going to do the same thing with KohaCon in October.
That's a great idea. I wish I could get more of my staff on board with going to the conference at all.
I don't know how many will go. We may only get 4 or 5, but it gives them a break from the day-to-day stuff. And if they can, you know, it doesn't cost them anything to sit in and watch it in a room. But we're looking forward to it. And also, since we were supposed to be hosting it, there is kind of a letdown here with staff. And so I'm trying to give them some connection to it to prepare for next year.
Oh, that reminds me. We talked about it a little bit in the board meeting, and I think Megan was going to talk to you. But do you guys, are you hoping to do it the same Oktoberfest weekend next year?
Yes.
Okay, because we
Yes.
wanted to kind of pump that up at the conference. Like, we had to move online, but we're still planning on doing McKinney next year. Hoping for the same weekend.
I'll get with Megan again today, but she was going to speak to the hotel and make sure we can still have that whole thing booked that week. And if that, we'll know by the conference, and I'll make sure she lets you know, definitely. But
Thanks.
all of the city facilities that we were going to use have already been booked. It's
Awesome.
just dealing with the hotel. Are people registering for KohaCon? I'm kind of looking forward to that. That'll be interesting.
I was already planning on going, so.
Yeah, I haven't checked the times yet, so I've got to double check those to make sure it's not like in the middle of the night.
Let's see. New Zealand is like 21 hours ahead of us on the West Coast, I think. Or 20 or 21 hours ahead. So they'd only be your central time. So they'd only be 22 or 23 hours ahead, so it shouldn't be too bad on the timing.
Yeah, I think it's almost a day's difference.
Yeah. Has anyone used the curbside plugin?
Nope.
Not yet.
We tested it just on it's up on the demo site now. Bywater's demo site at least. We tested it. I think I actually have another meeting in a few minutes, and I think we're going to decide at that point if we're going to actually turn it on. Although also, we're getting a test server, finally. We got grant money for it, for this year's at least. And so we might get the test server set up and turn it on there and, do some testing. And I tried just on the demo site, like messing with it with jQuery to like hide some buttons that don't work for our workflow, like the check-in button for patrons, like tell them I'm inside. We're doing all of ours outside on our patio, so we don't need that because we're just like setting it up and then they come up to us when they're here. And so like we wanted to just hide that with jQuery so it wouldn't confuse patrons. And it did not seem to want to work on the demo site when I was playing with it last week. But of course, it also refreshes every 2 hours. So I'd, do a little bit and then have to go do something else. And then next time I came back, I would like put back in whatever I'd been doing. But maybe I had a problem in what I copy pasted. So then I have to fix that before I can try more things. So hopefully when we get our test server up and running, we can do a little bit more there. And I put in some issues on the thing because it does stuff like you can, if you want to set up a curbside appointment for January 2077, you can do that. You can't, there's no way to say only let them do 2 weeks out at a time in case we want to change our times, some stuff like that. So if part of the reason you haven't started using it is that it doesn't do something that you think it should do, that's needed for your workflow, definitely go comment on the issue on the GitHub and I can put that in chat before I have to go. Because there's 8 issues so far, which are all really just like mostly things either I've put in or Donna at Bywater has put in that people have complained about. Like it doesn't notice if there's a holiday. It'll still, if you normally have things scheduled for like Monday, even if your calendar says it's Labor Day and we're closed, it'll still let people schedule curbside appointments. So
Who built the plugin?
Kyle Hall.
It was Kyle?
Yeah. So, and he's already done.
For some reason I was thinking Galen was involved in it as well, but
I think he
He helped flesh out the spec, I think, and then Kyle did all the coding.
He helped flesh out the spec. I think he also wrote a patch for it or whatever that got merged in so that it didn't need to depend on that bug that wasn't actually pushed into Koha. There had been a bug that hadn't even been QA'd that had to be applied for it to work, and that doesn't matter anymore. And I think Galen fixed that.
Yeah, when we first read about it, we thought, oh yeah, let's look at this, and then we started running the numbers, and we're averaging about 4 or 5 curbside pickups an hour, and our workflow is working, and it's not worth configuring it. You know, since we're open, most people are just coming in now.
Yeah, and I showed it off to my libraries, and we're gonna get it installed, but no one was like super excited or eager to try it. So I don't know. Maybe later on there will be, especially if we have to start closing down again, which I'm sure we won't. Um, then there might be more interest in using it. But at this point, I haven't had a lot of interest.
A lot of our interest actually came from the schools, many of which are having in-person teaching, but things like the library are closed except by appointment. And so they were thinking they could do kind of like curbside, where the patrons could set up curbside and then the teachers could come pick up for their whole class. Um, and just kind of do it that way as an easy way to like check out all the patrons, all the holds to all the patrons. So that was kind of our big push, but a lot of them pushed back their start dates until like next week, just to kind of see how things were going. So that's also part of why we just kind of waited until now.
And batch checkout was the thing that made our curbside valuable. Everything else, you know, when we were closed and only doing that, we had people with 60, 70 holds that we'd have to haul out there, and taking time. All right. What else do we have to talk about? Is anybody doing anything neat and fun? Nope. Everybody's just surviving.
I'm sure there's neat fun things. I'm actually excited. I went through the release notes for for Koha 2005 because you know it's
Why
already
not?
September and we're early adopters, so we'll probably be upgrading early October is kind of how it's been. So like I think last week we were the first full week of October, or last year. So getting excited about some of that. I have like a Google Doc that I do every time that's like, here's all the things I'm excited about or that might affect us and we have to fix jQuery or change reports. There's a lot of nice stuff from like purchase suggestions where people can like add the ability to suggest purchases from titles that already exist, which is helpful for like when all the copies are lost. Or like right now our consortium isn't doing courier service, so we can do if someone's like, oh, I'm looking for this thing, but only Lewiston has a copy, then they can like suggest that we purchase a copy. And that'll be nice because it'll already be all linked up. We don't really use like the acquisitions module except for this. So we haven't had, I know that there's some stuff where if you're like doing all your ordering, your purchase suggestions can do a little more than our current setup. So a lot of it's about that. I have to go to the other meeting though, but that's my exciting stuff.
One of our things with purchase suggestions has been, bye. We've had an issue with declining a purchase suggestion because we're going to get it through interlibrary loan, or because the language in that we didn't like. You were telling them no because of a positive reason, and we didn't like the way it did that, so we figured out a way through reasons and the toolkit template to make the email that they get not say rejected or whatever it was, say something more positive. We've requested this through interlibrary loan for you, blah, blah, that kind of a thing, rather than it just being rejected and then forcing them to read the email. I'm hoping these new things don't break any of that, but we'll see.
Do you guys find that the upgrades tend to break things. We haven't had an upgrade yet. This is our first full one because we just came online in June.
The short answer to that is no.
Okay.
It's not what I find. I do find that if I have customized something, if I've gone in there and tweaked it through jQuery or tweaked it in some way, shape, or form, customizing a template, something like that, then yes, occasionally things break. But I can't blame them for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they told us not to touch, was it the style sheets or something? Like they said, do not touch this. It will break every time we do an upgrade. So
Yeah, especially if you touch the page templates. Do you host your own system?
no.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's, yeah, this is our first upgrade because we're kind of in between the two at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, this will be an adventure for us.
Yeah, one of the things that you can really customize and cause massive headaches for yourself every upgrade are the where it controls what how it's painting the page with the mark. I used to manage them when I was with
The XSLT.
XSLT style sheets.
Yeah.
Age does that to you. If you customize those XSLT style sheets, it can get really hairy with every upgrade.
Yeah, that's what they told us not to touch.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to do some tweaking on our end. And they're like, well, if you do this, every time you upgrade, you're going to break it.
Yep.
And so we tried to find a way around that.
And for 2 years while I was with Bywater, we tried to figure out a way around that, and we really couldn't.
I also have a question.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
Go ahead, Daniel.
I was going to ask, I didn't read any of the notes, but they're not messing with the account lines again, are they?
I don't know. I've not noticed it.
That has been such a pain in the rear. So I just actually had something else on one of my payment reports break over the last week, and I had to start using a different data source for the information. So our flip side with Ed is that whenever we have an upgrade, yeah, something usually does break, and it's typically like custom jQuery reports. And what was my favorite thing? Oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I'll come back to it later. But yeah, we typically have things that break during an upgrade.
But you have to realize those are things that we have changed. That's, you know, if you're using it out of the box, upgrades are smooth as can be.
For the most part, I will say this most recent one we had, there were lots of issues that weren't my fault this time. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys had the issue with deleted items timestamps updating to the upgrade date, but we were relying a lot. I know a lot of libraries were relying on those timestamps to figure out when an item was deleted. And now when you run the report, it thinks that hundreds of thousands of items were deleted this year. So we've been trying to find a workaround on that. And then there were like credits. We had a lot of like, maybe it is my fault because we have all this old data because we've been around so long that our data doesn't fit modern Koha. So we had all these old credits that just started bubbling to the surface thanks to something they changed in the upgrade, and people got really confused with that too. So yeah, maybe things don't break. Maybe it is my fault and my old data.
So maybe it's time for a Koha to Koha migration again and clean up some of that old stuff. Yeah,
So,
I've not faced the deleted items. I think Marcy, our head of tech services, would have told me about that, but who knows? What were you going to say, Rebecca?
oh, I was going to ask, so everyone upgrades on the same time frame, roughly? Like, they told us like the first week in the month, roughly. 3, 4, 5 is what they said. So
Roughly. It usually takes Bywater a good month and a half to migrate everybody.
okay.
And they spread it out over that month, but it's roughly the same time for you every time.
Okay.
Ours is usually close to the beginning of a month, and will probably be what, December-ish, ish.
Okay.
They come out in November. The release comes out in November, and Bywater keeps you a version behind. So.
Right. Yeah, there's a patch that we are waiting for, but it's apparently not slotted till May of next year. So we're hoping that they can get it to us sooner, but we need to upgrade our server. So there's a lot going on over here. We're still just trying to figure out Koha. We went live middle of June. So I'm very grateful for this group because I'm learning a lot just listening to you all. And thank you for answering my questions because it's an uphill battle.
Well, I'm glad we can do that. I presume you're going to a lot of the other groups as well.
Oh, actually, we have a diverse team. So like our catalogers go to the cataloging.
Okay, well, that's really what I mean. Is your team attending the appropriate meetings?
Yeah, and I'm still learning about all the resources that Koha and Koha US and KohaCon and what everyone has out there for information. So when we find things, we're sharing it on our team site to let people know. So I'm going to go back and take the KohaCon and the US Koha meeting and put that out there because I don't think anyone knows about it except a couple of us that have come to this meeting. So.
Well, they're well worth attending.
Okay.
They're best in person, but we're going to do what we're going to do this year.
Yeah. Actually, I'm kind of grateful that, it's online because I don't think I could get to New Zealand. So
yeah, there's no way I could get to New Zealand.
I was gonna go. I had approval and everything.
Oh.
That's okay. Maybe next year.
Yeah, I was chatting with Chris, and he was trying to find a soccer game to take me to if I was able to go. Chris in New Zealand, and I've been to a couple of soccer games together. We went to one in Portland when it was there, and then we did another one for one of the other conferences. So, when you get together, you do what you do.
So it's in a different location every year?
Yes, both are in different locations each year. It's in New Zealand this year. What is it? Every 3 or 4 years it cycles to North America.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so then people here have a chance to go. I think last year it was somewhere in Europe. I remember someone saying.
It was in Ireland last year. Yeah. And then it's New Zealand this year, and I've forgotten where it is next year. They already know.
Did they? I don't
know. Maybe not. Maybe they haven't decided yet.
I was almost able to get to Ireland. I convinced the director that we could send me, but then it fell through at the last minute.
I heard that, where is it? Somewhere in Canada was going to try to host when it was in North America, which I think is going to be a problem for a lot of US folks not being able to get up to Canada. I mean, funding institutions just won't pay for it because it's out of the country.
Right.
But Montreal, I think, a library in Montreal was going to try to host it.
Who knows what next month holds, much less next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, our kids just went back to school here in my area today. So the internet is creaking, but it's still working. But we have reports that it has broken many times for the classes. Like it's taking them 22 minutes to log in for a 30-minute class. So it's a new world.
Yeah, I saw a funny meme that said, it's basically a high school kid saying snow days are gone forever now. Now that we have Zoom, there's no reason for a snow day, and they were all depressed.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. You're at home. You're back in class.
Yep. All right. Let me try to think of another systems question to ask.
Oh, our website appears to be working again, so I'm going to put a link to one of those pages in just to show it off a little bit. So this page is completely populated by multiple public reports in Koha. And we're just pulling in the data from Koha and then generating links using that content importer plugin I talked about. And I still don't have icons for some reason. I think someone deleted my Font Awesome plugin. I'm not in charge of the website, so I just kind of do what I can. So there's little boxes where it should be arrows and things, but you get the idea. Um, it's pretty powerful what you can do with public reports. I was excited to find that we could do this sort of thing because it's like before someone had to go into the website and update the list every time something changed, but now if we delete the item out of Koha, it comes off the list. So it saves a lot of staff time doing it this way rather than manually keeping up a list.
Yeah, every time I've tried to just use standard code that can, grab a JSON file and it won't kick off that report, or it tells me it can't read it without going through some other step.
Yeah.
I've got something wonky, and I've been able to figure it out as long as I'm kind of within Koha, but once I go off to another server and try to get back to it, I'm doing something wrong.
And I can't help there.
I know.
I don't know.
I just have to do it. It's just going to take more time.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good, Jason.
Thanks.
Is the scroller, what did I see on the side over there? The school slide, thing on the right-hand side, SEK School Library Showcase, that's just something from the school. That's not.
I believe that's a plugin, something that, yeah, it's just a WordPress plugin that we've uploaded pictures to.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I love these individual pictures. Somebody had fun taking those.
Yeah, we have student help during the summer, and we had them set out to document our puppets and stuff so that we could make it jazzier than just a list. So, yeah.
Do they store that image in your MARC record so that you can see that from the catalog as well?
Right. So these are all uploaded to Koha, so you can see it in the MARC record, both on the staff client and the OPAC. If you click the placeholder on OPAC, it'll take you over, but not really.
Yeah, it wants me to log in.
Oh, if you click the title, it takes you to the OPAC, but I can put it in there too, and just to show.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So, and then if you click on the image, it gets a little bigger. So yeah, those are all just images we've uploaded to Koha. But you could potentially I have a report that I reverse engineered where we can pull in cover images from like Amazon and then push them out via the report. So we could actually generate like Amazon cover images on this too if we wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of story time kits like that as well that have, puppets and bits and pieces that go with them. So that's really interesting to know. We also have garden tools, which sometimes could use a picture to help describe what the heck it is.
Yeah, we have some libraries that have cake pans, and I really want to get those documented with pictures because I think that would make it way more helpful. But we're slowly like growing our library of things collections across the consortium. I know my local library got a telescope, a very large telescope donated, so I think they took a picture of that and got all that put in there too. So, and then I have some libraries that we have some like local history books. They like to go in and put their own covers in for the things that you can't get outside on like Amazon or Synthetics or whatever.
You'll have to share the cake pan collection when you finish it.
Currently, it's a dream project, but maybe someday.
Someday.
one of the things I'm trying to work on is to redo our new material report, where you have on your catalog there. One of the problems we have with ours is using acquisitions, we end up with so many on order things that the first 10 pages are all on order items. And I'm trying to come up with a clean way of weeding all those out and making that a separate, link where it just shows the stuff that's on order. And I just haven't had time to work through all that.
Again, something I can't help with. We don't we don't do on order records, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yep. And I know how to get it done. I just haven't had time to sit down and do it. There's not a good way to remove those in your search. So you've got to do it you've got to trick it into not looking at them. And there are a number of folks out there that have done it, and I just need to reverse engineer it or ask them how they did it and copy it.
Yeah, for us, I think it's a lost status. And so it's on order. We've created a not for loan status so that we can hide them that way.
Well, we want people to see them.
Oh, okay.
We want people to put holds on them and that kind of thing. But when you do a general search and you're sorting it by acquisition date, as soon as that mark record appears, all of those float to the top because they were the most recently, added to the system. And so it's a little more complicated.
Yeah, that's very complicated.
So when you're looking for new things, once you get past all the on-order records, you'll find them.
Is anyone here using Aspen as their discovery layer?
We are. We actually call it Discovery, but yeah, so far it's been really good.
Yeah, we're really happy with it. We were on Pica before and migrated over when Aspen became part of Bywater. It just happened all at the same time. So we had their migration first, and then we came over to Koha. So we've kind of been working out the bugs for both products at the same time. But I really like our discovery layer. It's easy to use and easy to find new things. I'll share the link with you guys if you're interested.
Yeah, we would be. We're the main complaint that we have for Discovery is that the on order items are not easy to find. And our users actually, they'll probably sit at home and hit F5 to refresh the page every time to see when we get new stuff in. So we have some very annoying power users around here. So
We've got folks that we're sure every morning they get up about 7 a.m. and just, troll through our catalog to find all the new DVDs as soon as the order record appears and put holds on them.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm not alone.
You're not alone. Ours too. I can tell you about 45 patrons that do that every day.
I was kind of hoping that one of the upgrades that they did for the purchase suggestions and the new upgrade is to have a limit per month. That was kind of one of our things that we wanted, a limit of suggestions per month, like 5 a month. But it doesn't sound like that's in the works at all.
Sounds familiar, but I can't.
We have a limit on ours. Like each patron can suggest so many. I don't know if it's per month or per patron, like active status. I'm not really sure, but I can find out if you want to know.
It's active right now.
Active.
That's what we have, and and there's another users that they'll, as soon as their requests are filled, they'll submit 5 more, the next day, if not the next hour. So.
Yeah, we've got the same problem with a few power users with ILL. Got a maximum number of ILLs they can have, and as soon as they check one in, they've submitted the next. I mean, they've got a rotating list that they're looking for.
Are you actually using the Koha ILL module?
No.
Okay.
We want to play with it. There are enough libraries in the DFW area that are on Koha, and enough directors that are vaguely possibly interested in playing with it. Right now, the state library manages a lot of that, and it would be very difficult to get Koha to communicate with, you know, the state library system, whichever one it is, Navigator, I think. And so there'd be a lot of double entry. But with a number of the libraries here, we're considering setting it up independently of the state library and just kind of figuring out a way to do some courier and playing with it and seeing how it works at a smaller local environment.
We had the state library show interest in it, and then I think COVID happened and put it on hiatus, but now it's starting to get some traction again. And so far, yeah, we've run a test and it seems to work pretty well. There are some upgrades that we'd like to see to it, namely being able to delete or to archive the old requests. And also notifications are one of the things that would be a really great improvement so far.
Yeah, we've got a couple of libraries right around here. I don't ever see the state of Texas looking at something like that. They'd rather just completely defund it or pay a whole lot of money. That's
Yeah, that's another dream. We have three big consortia in Kansas that use Koha, and then a smaller one and some standalone locations, and we use share it statewide to share between everybody. I would love to like kind of knock down our share it usage by using Koha to Koha ILL. But it sounds like it still needs some work. So
Yeah, we actually are in the same position. We have this thing called Prospector that a lot of libraries use in Colorado. And I thought we were going to transition over to Koha ILL and just get rid of Prospector, but it sounds like they're going the opposite way, going to Prospector, which is kind of expensive, and not really focusing on Koha, which is kind of backwards to me, at least.
yeah, this is the bug I was thinking of. I'm not sure if it's exactly what you were talking about, but about limiting purchase suggestions in a time period. And it does look like it did get pushed to 2005, so that will be coming in the next upgrade we get. But I don't know if that solves the problem you're having.
well, it looks like it's not being backported. So, yep. Rebecca, do you spend any time looking at the Bugzilla reports? Do you all use any of? Do you or your systems people use any of that?
I have multiple bugs open that they've told me that, that's a bug, this is a bug, comment on this. So I've gotten a few of our colleagues on board with Bugzilla. We're kind of sharing the links just to like bump it up. Be like, hey, comment on my link, comment on my ticket, because that's how I understand they get attention. The more comments and people viewing it or whatever makes it go higher in their list.
Comments and votes.
Yeah. So I have, I think, like 4 or 5 of them open.
Good.
And at least for like circulation and systems. And then I know our cataloging team has a couple open.
I just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Thank you.
Out there and using it.
Yeah, it's hard to search though. I am impressed at how many bugs are out there. I found one from 2015 the other day that just kind of petered off, and so I wrote somebody at Bywater and said, should I comment on this or should I just submit a new one?
If you submit a new one, Kate will find it and merge it with the old one.
Yeah.
I promise. Kate is great at that.
There's a couple we have open right now regarding hold expiration date changing, which has been a big COVID request. Like patrons need a couple extra days to get into the library to get their to pick up their holds because they can't make it in the time because we're open shorter hours right now. So they want a couple, like an extra day or an extra 2 days because they're on vacation. And there's no way that we've been able to find to do this. And I've asked and they're like, no, it just doesn't exist. So they put in a bug for it and found another bug. They found 3 bugs actually. Different, looking at it from different perspectives. So I'm hoping that will come about very quickly.
So do you auto expire the holds or not?
We do not.
Okay. The way we address that is called a sticky note. Well, all of ours are, out there, and they just have the date on the. We have a sticker that's on the spine,
right?
That has the expiration date. Well, we just, put a note on it saying, "Don't pull this until this date," on the cover of the book, so the person who's pulling them on those dates looks at it and goes, "Okay," puts it back.
Yeah, we've been writing on our tag. We have printed tags, and
Yeah.
so that's why I'm like,
yeah,
you have to do it old school, but they want a way to do it in the actual system.
Yeah, but then you got to print a new one.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what they've asked for, so
Yeah.
I told them I would put it in. But I like the sticky note approach.
Just what? Yeah, because you're right. You get those folks right now that says, "Hey, I'm on vacation. I just need a couple of extra days," and so we just give them a couple extra days.
Do you, as like a CIS team here, like this group here, have some sort of mailing list that you're like, hey, can you bump up my ticket, or can you comment on my ticket, or?
We have a Google group. Jason,
Okay.
are you putting that in chat? You look like you're doing.
I'm trying to find it. I'll
Okay.
put it in chat.
Yes, we have a Google group.
Okay.
It's very, 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 very inactive.
Excellent.
So.
Oh, the buttons changed colors. When did that happen? There's this admin Google group,
Thanks.
and you should be able to self-subscribe yourself to that. But if you have trouble, let me know.
Let Jason know.
And then just a general link to all the special interest groups there. If there are others, there's a mailing list for each special interest group. So if you have certain people needing to join certain mailing lists, that's the kind of hub page for all those.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. I know we started a little late, but at least here it's 12 o'clock. Don't know what time it is elsewhere. Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, Rebecca, I'm glad we could help you. Glad
Thank
to
you
see
very
everybody. Sorry about my little technical issues at the beginning. I'm so ready for my new computer.
I hope it comes soon.
Hopefully in the next few weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again.
Take care.